what's up? It's Jeremy Picker from Amber Creative.
This is Deanna with In the Zoning and Print Girl Mafia.
This is Ray Weiss with Printing United Alliance.
You're listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
Hosted by Terry Combs RG, Regular Guys, and Aaron Montgomery.
The place to be for industry news.
The best dad jokes on earth, along with relevant topics to apparel decorators.
Fashion to the people.
Welcome into the show. It is Friday, July 31st, 2026. I'm Terry Combs. You can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery from Super Gamut and our Success Group. And Terry, this week we've got friend Colin Sinclair McDermott joining us here today. And he is a Printing United Expo All-Star. In fact, he is the captain of the team and just a super guy. I've had a running back and forth, had a chance to meet him and talk to him a little bit, but I'm really excited to dig in and talk to him about what he does. And we'll certainly, obviously, talk a little bit about Printing United and what's coming up there. I know everybody's getting really excited about it. Sometimes it's excitement. Sometimes it's anxiety going, is it really that close? Right? I got lots to do. Cassie's in the background. You know, I bet she's freaking out right now, too. So we're all good. But it's going to be a great discussion, Terry. We're talking about business growth mistakes and most importantly, how to avoid them. So I can't wait to get Colin's take on this. He's a super smart guy. So I can't wait to make sure that, Terry, you have your junior yellow legal pad ready to go. So
I have it ready to go, and I've been looking very much forward to this show. So make sure you stay till the very end, though, for the secret sauce. I'm going to be mixing up a special recipe myself. Can your business run without you? So
good question. Yes, I can't wait to find that out. So I'll keep my pen, my whiteboard pen ready to go. I've got my notes section all cleared off, nothing on it right now. So I'm ready to fill it up, Terry.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Well, before we get into the meat of that stuff, though, we do have Cassie, as I mentioned, waiting in the wings here for us. And she's got some news headlines that she is going to be sharing with us today. Some good stuff happening here. So you ready for the news, Terry?
Absolutely. Let's hear from Cassie.
Hey, you guys, so excited to be here. Another beautiful Friday. I'm not trying to make anyone jealous, but I am currently sitting and my view is a lake. So maybe that will bring all of you some peace and calm going into your weekend. I know it's helping me, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for headlines. So first I have for everybody is Ryanette opens doors for open house in August. Ryanette invites the industry to its annual open house set to take place August 12th through 14th at the Vancouver, Washington location. Day 1 will be a Future of Printing panel discussion. Day 2 will be its rummage sale, live printing, barbecue, and music event. Both of those days are free to attend. And then Day 3 will be a screen print experience specialty class. That does cost $99 to attend. Seats are limited for that Day 3 event to ensure everyone gets plenty of individual attention and press time. So make sure to visit that news head link and book your spot. Attendees for the entire open house, whether you will attend Day 3 or not, are encouraged to RSVP for the open event as well. So make sure, again, visit the news headline. Second headline I have for everybody today, Atlantis Headwear recognized among Italy's fastest growing companies. Atlantis Headwear has earned a place among Italy's 500 leaders of growth in 2026, a ranking by IL Sol 24 or and Statista, recognizing the country's fastest growing companies based on revenue growth from 2021 to 2024. Now, according to a press release from Atlantis, the recognition comes as it continues to redefine what sustainable headwear can be. More than 15,000 companies across Italy were evaluated for the 2026 ranking, with only 500 selected based on verified financial performance and compound annual growth rate. So big congratulations to them. And finally, you guys, we have your third headline. Women in Print Alliance announces programming for Printing United Expo 2026. So of course, if we're going to be gearing up for Expo, might as well talk about some of the highlights for the upcoming event. Women in Print Alliance is a division of Printing United Alliance. It announces its lineup of networking, professional development, and community building experiences for the expo, which takes place September 23rd through 25th at the Las Vegas Convention Center. This year's programming for Women in Print Alliance includes a discussion titled Expo 101, Tips and Tricks for Women in Print. They also have their member welcome reception, an annual networking luncheon, and the Women in Print Alliance booth. So in addition to meeting the Expo All-Stars, you can also participate in any of the Women in Print Alliance events and lots of other good things happening at Expo. So that's everything I have for you guys this week. Back to you, Erin and Terry.
Aaron, I don't know if you have your mic on, my friend.
That was your cue, Terry, to talk in Spanish. So,
In Spanish, yeah.
all right. Well, there we go. A little live fun there. Terry, what stood out to you from Cassie's?
Well, I have to say, when Ryanette's going to have barbecue and music, I'm picturing Ryan Moore going, you guys like barbecue? Hey, I wrote a song about it. Here it goes.
Yeah, that'll be good.
And of course, Women in Print Alliance. So many cool things happening at Printing United every year, and that being a regular part of the event now.
Yeah, no, that's some good stuff, and appreciate Cassie sharing that. I think that's one of the biggest challenges of Expo is there are so many things going on. It's hard to wrap your head around all of them. You make sure you make time for all of them. Bring your good walking/running shoes and
Right.
get across the floor. So thank you, Cassie, for joining us here, especially while she's on vacation and it could be enjoying a lake and came here to hang out with two crazy regular guys. But we appreciate her. And just a little preview. Cassie is going to be filling in. You and I will be at a trade show next week, and I've got a class right during the show, and Cassie is going to be the co-host with Eric, and so we so greatly appreciate her jumping in. We're like, hey, would you do this? And she's like, sure. And oh man, so appreciate that, and excited to be able to hear that program next week, and we'll talk more about that at the end of the show, Terry. So good stuff there. Yeah. All right, let's say good morning to some folks that are tuned in here. Ramona right at the top said first time in weeks I made it in early. Happy Friday to everyone. Doug Sobel is in Los Angeles. Appreciate you checking in, Doug. Good to see you. And Andy, good morning to you. Andy, I did get your dad joke. I was telling the team before we got started here, and so stay tuned. That will be coming soon. A great dad joke, Andy. I appreciate you sharing that with me. Let's see what else we got here. Scrolling through. And Ramona, yes, Cassie looked great. Looked so summer tan. So love it. All right, Terry. Well, speaking of Cassie and dad jokes and whatnot, I believe you've got a dad joke for us. Are you ready for that?
Yep. Whenever Cassie's here, got to bring your A game.
That's right. Let's do it.
All right, Aaron. So what dinosaur wakes up earliest?
I don't know, Terry. What dinosaur does wake up earliest?
The cracodon. For our podcast listeners, cracodon, crack of dawn.
That is an extreme amount of head shaking out of Eric. I think I really do a little bit feel like we kept the whole dad joke thing after that kind of became a thing, just so we could see Eric's reply. I think that's kind of why I do it. You guys get to see that live all the time. Well, somehow I'll have to screen capture that or whatnot. But anyways, very good, Terry. Thank you for that.
We should have him down in the corner. His picture pop up in the corner when we do the dad joke.
Does that? We could make that happen. All right, Terry. Let's do a little housekeeping before we get Colin in here. We got a lot to cover with Colin, so let's not delay further.
We want to thank everybody for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We still need your voices. We would love to have the regulators participate in the show intros. Go to osg.link/intro. read a few sentences, and be a part of every show. We're always looking for new guests, so if you or anyone you know would like to join us, go to calendly.com/2, the number two, regular guys to book a future episode, or email us at info@tworegularguys.com with your show ideas. If you are listening to the podcast version of the show, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys podcast with all of your industry friends so they can become regulators too. And we would appreciate you giving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcast, YouTube Podcast, wherever you do your podcast listening, we are there. And if you're watching us live right now, please join in with your comments, your thoughts, your questions, and be a part of the show.
Love it, love it, love it. All right, Terry. Well, thank you for sharing that, and definitely make sure you guys are in here. We've got great guests. In fact, let's go ahead and bring Colin on the show here, Terry. Eric, whenever you're ready. Colin, welcome. Thank you so much for being here with us this morning.
Thanks for having me, guys. My jaws are already hurting and we've not even started. That was a topper of a dad joke to get us rolling.
All right. Hey, Colin, we stopped reading those bios a long time ago. So we just want to learn who you are and tell us a little bit about your journey in the print industry.
Sure. So as you guys can tell, I'm not from your neck of the woods. I'm across the pond. I'm from Scotland, a little place called Troon, just outside Glasgow. I've been in the print industry for almost 30 years. Quite a fruitful, eventful career, should I say. I've owned two print businesses over that time. One of them I lost, which I speak about quite openly because I think some of the best lessons I've learned over the years came from that business failure. I went on my second business, had a bit more success. We franchised that business. We had 12 locations around the UK. Sold up. I went to work with one of the big corporates for a few years. And then about 6 or 7 years ago, I decided I wanted a change and went away and trained as a fully certified corporate coach. And for the last 6 years, I've been working as a business coach for the printing industry. Nice. Started off here in the UK and Ireland, and has subsequently grown. I now work with companies over in North America, down in the Caribbean, South Africa, New Zealand, Australia. So the beauty of being online is you can work with anyone anywhere, and everyone's going through the same challenges.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yep, I love the story. I love the journey, Colin. All right, well, let's get into this because this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. I know Terry this is the type of thing that we love sharing with folks. Like you said, sometimes our best lessons come from those challenges, and obviously, I think a lot of folks want to grow their business, and print, apparel business, really, let's just call it that, right? When we start growing, there can be challenges that come with that. And I think, in my experience, and I want to hear your take on this, is there can be some early warning signs when we're kind of building more chaos instead of a stronger company. Mm-hmm. So from your vantage point, what are those early warning signs?
Sure. So there's definitely a few that I recognize. I think certainly predominantly business owners I work with, but I do work with leadership teams and people further down the chain as well. But typically when you see businesses where they are so reliant on the business owner, and obviously they become the bottleneck as well. So when the business is solely reliant on the business owner, that's usually a big problem of an early warning sign. But again, some of just the obvious things like customer service kind of slipping, kind of missed delivery deadlines, cash flow, even though maybe sales are getting better, kind of cash flow is actually getting tighter as well. They're definitely some of the kind of the early signs that I would be watching out for as you kind of enter those growth stages.
Yeah, those are some good ones. And Colin, can you expand a little bit on the cash flow thing? What do you think's happening there? Like you said, they're getting more orders, but all of a sudden cash flow feels tighter.
Yeah, I guess it comes down to your supply chain as well. But again, if you're having to if you're having to perhaps buy more paper, buy more substrate, buy more ink, and you're perhaps having to kind of fork out for money up front before the actual transactional revenue comes through, that can quite often impact kind of the cash flow side of things. So usually there's that kind of lull period, certainly as you start entering that growth phase where you don't have the cash flow to sustain that growth as well.
Got it. Good. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that. That makes a ton of sense.
So, Colin, while these sales are increasing, what are some of the growth mistakes that you see owners make? And when sales increase, all of a sudden you think, I need new equipment, I need to hire people, I need more space. So, what are you seeing there?
Yeah, I think that's the obvious thing that you kind of default to. I think the problem is before you start doing that, I kind of quite often see print companies they're chasing more customers. They're like you say, they're going out and buying a new piece of kit, kind of maybe bringing in new staff. But before they do that, there's quite often, from my experience, lots of things that need to be fixed before you do that. I actually had a conversation with a client just last week. They were looking to bring on a new employee, but actually they weren't ready to bring on that new employee yet. There was processes that needed to be put in place or corrected or fixed before they actually done that. So maybe improving production workflows or kind of the quoting process, the sales process. So it's important that you get these things right before you go start investing in those other areas as well. And that's something I see a lot of people making that mistake with. And as it turned out, the person that came on that particular coaching call, when they started the conversation, they were adamant that they had to hire a new person. And when we started to delve into why they were bringing that person in and what roles they wanted them to do, by the end of the conversation, they admitted that actually some system improvements within the business actually meant they didn't need to do that just yet.
Yeah.
That's something you guys see as well, I'm guessing?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely something that we're seeing out there. And for whatever reason, right, that maybe it's the shiny object, maybe it's but we've noticed in the apparel space that the go-to is, let's add one more piece of equipment. And now they've got 5 pieces of equipment sitting there collecting dust instead of 4, right? And so to your point there, I think that system thing, I was actually talking with a friend of mine just actually yesterday as we were walking through the warehouse, and we were talking about some needed system improvements. And it was just, a system is simply a lesson you don't want to repeat. Right? Like if you put a standard operating procedure in place, you're basically saying, yes, that was a learned lesson, challenge we faced, and I don't want to face that again. So let's make sure that there's a system there. So,
the other thing as well is kind of, again, this refers to a conversation we had in one of our mastermind groups yesterday, but like when you're making those decisions to go buy, so many people go buy new kit when actually there's no justification for it yet. And just now there's so many people we can collaborate with. The instance yesterday was someone looking at going and buying a new digital press that had some fancy new embellishment features and things like that, but they had no work to justify that investment just now. It was all on a whim. And I'd spoke to them about perhaps kind of partnering up with someone who does have that piece of kit just now, being honest with them and saying, kind of, look, I'm going to use you for the next 6 months to build a case for me going and buying this same piece of kit. They're not going to say no to that, but again, it just allows you to go build the justification for that rather than just finger in the air decisions that don't have any merit behind them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really, really good. Looks like Terry's having some internet technical difficulties today, so that's totally fine, but we will get through this. All right, I want to, yes, exactly what you said there, Colin, and I'm so grateful that you're sharing this with folks, because again, we need to have these different perspectives, and that's going to save us from these mistakes that we're seeing people making. So I want to talk about something else and Yes. Maybe I know why, Colin, you and I haven't had a chance to really sit down yet, because this would probably be like a 3 hour, 4 hour conversation. I think we are very much of the exact same ilk, and talk about the exact same types of things and have that same passion to support business owners. And one of the things I like to talk about a lot is getting clear on kind of what that target is, what success actually looks like before you build a plan. And so how do you do that? How do you help owners define the kind of business that they truly want, instead of, I think sometimes we just get, oh, I just need more customers, more revenue. Like, that's not always the end point, right? So how do you help people with that?
It's almost like you sat in on my mastermind session yesterday afternoon.
It was a fly on the wall. Yep. Technology.
So we had yesterday so it's a 5-week month. So usually if there's an extra slot, we do just a simple ask the coach session, and that was one of the questions I was asked yesterday, was kind of I think it started off as, what are the traits of a successful kind of business, but then define what success is, and it's different. You can't. There's no hard kind of fast fact rule. Kind of it means something different for every single person. I've got one client in particular that comes to mind who, he's young, he's ambitious, he wants the big factory, the hundreds of employees, the new shiny kit. And then on the flip side, I'm working with a client just now, inherited a family business. He's not interested in growing it. He wants to kind of drive more efficiency, kind of look at driving the profits up a little bit, but he's not interested in growing to the point where he's bringing in new bits of kit, any new members of staff, etc. So everyone's different. Kind of whether you're looking for a $5 million, $10 million business, kind of whether you want to pass it on to kind of family that are kind of up and coming, whether you want to sell. Again, this is a conversation I have quite a lot. I'm going off track a little bit here, but like, every single business owner should have an exit plan in place, regardless of what that is to them. But people kind of put it off. I don't need to worry about that just now. I've got another 10, 15 years ahead of me. You should be building a business now that's ready to sell in 15 years' time. You should be putting the steps and measures in place to do that now. And people seem a little bit scared to do that. For some reason, they keep putting it off. And I guess that's a conversation you might have with the people you work with and speak to across the industry as well.
Yeah. Some of that, I tend to work with smaller startups, and so yes, that is definitely further down the road. But yeah, it's like begin with the end in mind. My dad told me before I got married the first time, and that plan for the divorce, and I was like, where's the romance in that, Dad? Come on. But the reality is, I think sometimes as business owners we need to be, where are we heading? What's the target we're going to? So really good stuff, Colin. Thank you for.
I think too many business owners, they kind of tend to build a job for themselves rather than a business that becomes an asset, and they're so tied up in the business. And I'm sure we all know people that fit that mold. So again, I don't want to sound cheesy, kind of like it's all about working on the business, not in the business, but it's true. And too many people are so embedded in it that they can't see it sometimes, and that's why these conversations are so important. I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with that. Like you said, people are creating jobs for themselves, and I think the even bigger problem is they create a job for themselves that pays less than they could make going to a minimum wage job and being able to clock out at the end of the day, right? And so, like you said, it's not that you've got to constantly be working on your business. In fact, the folks I work with, we talk about the fact that, can you just give 15% of your time to working on the business, right? Well, that'll give you so much time back. It feels very, I call it an uncommon mindset, right? So how do you see that, right? That kind of idea of like, well, I need to be doing this. But if you thought about this in an upside down way, how does that flow for you? Yeah, I've always said the best thing about being self-employed is choosing which 18 hours of the day you get to work.
Yep. Yeah, Terry, that's one of your favorite lines. You get to work every hour of every day, right? Is that?
But yeah, being an entrepreneur gives you the freedom to work all the hours there are in the day.
Yep.
I was doing a seminar once and somebody raised their hand and said, "So if I take a 2-week vacation," and she was asking a question and people around the room started snickering. And she's like, "What? What?" We're like, "You're probably not going to take a 2-week vacation, not all at once."
At least not at the beginning. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, Terry. Well, where are we going to head next here?
Well, did you guys talk about temporary business or?
We did not. We did not.
Okay. Well, so that's my question, and this whole time as we're having this conversation, I was thinking, what is the difference in temporary burst of business, temporary business season, and real sustainable business growth? Because I think that's where people get tripped up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think this goes back to you. Have you guys familiar with the book The E-Myth?
Yep.
Yeah. Probably one of the best small business books of all time. I had the pleasure of actually bringing Michael Gerber over to the UK about 10 years ago. First time he'd ever been on UK soil. Got to meet him firsthand, and he was doing a seminar for an event I was supporting. But I kind of go back to that book. That book completely changed my kind of vision about business, and it was probably one of the main reasons why I decided to franchise. But for those that haven't read it, it's very much about business systems and processes, and for me, it's all about building predictable systems. In fact, I think that might even be the tagline on my LinkedIn profile just now, about helping businesses build a more predictable and profitable future. But it's about building those predictable systems, and you're always going to get those one-off kind of larger customers, or kind of there'll be different seasons, or if there's any like sports tournaments or things like that on, there's going to be those one-offs. But it's about building those kind of repeat customers, those kind of looking at ways to improve your margins. I think we're going to speak about this later on anyway, but kind of having the right KPIs in place and things like that as well. But you've got to be careful not to make big decisions when it feels busy, because kind of that might just be a one-off kind of sporadic moment. And strangely, I had a conversation. There's me going off topic again. I had a conversation with someone in where was it? It was D-Scoop at in Denver, Colorado this year, and they had kind of gone through a period where one of their biggest customers had decided to go elsewhere for no fault through their own, and this customer was quite a demanding customer. The margins were quite tight with that particular customer, and they were really worried the impact it was going to have in the business. And you guys are long enough in the tooth to know exactly what happened here. Nothing. If anything, it freed up their time. They got to work on the customers that did value them, that did pay them what they were worth. And in fact, the workplace became a much happier place to be as well. So it's about building the predictable systems, kind of like I was very guilty of it when I had my first business. That was one of the things that cost me. Was we had all our eggs in one basket. It was at one of the big banks over here at the time, and when the recession hit, they centralised everything back down to a central hub in England. So it's about building those predictable systems, so that you can kind of weather those particular storms when they do come as well. But again, I'm going to touch on some of the KPIs and things later on in the episodes, how you can do that as well. But I think that answers the question. I did go off topic a little bit there.
Yeah. Colin, you're on the tour here, guys. You're never off topic here. So. All right. Well, yes, KPIs, that's where we're heading next. Definitely one of the fundamentals I teach is knowing your numbers. Again, I think you and I are just like two peas in a pod here. So what KPIs, what financial numbers should owners watch closely, especially as they grow, right? And then maybe just to do the flip side of that, what are some numbers that are maybe misunderstood or ignored too? So yeah, wherever you head there with those KPIs, help us with that.
Yeah. So typically, again, you guys will know this, I'm sure, as well, and see it frequently, but most of the people, when I start working with them, they don't know their numbers. Like, it terrifies me. Typically, I can go in and look at a business, and you can get a fair idea of kind of what their break even is, for example. So many business owners don't even know what their break even number is. They don't even know what the day starts, kind of what they need to do to kind of to hit profit that day. And that terrifies me. And usually I'm closer to the figure than what they think they are. And the figure they always tell me is never as high as what it should be. But yeah, so typically when I start working with a client, I can tend to focus in on like 5 or 6. I mean, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of different KPIs we could be using to measure our businesses. But obviously, kind of revenue is the one that everyone talks about. It's probably the one that doesn't matter as much as well, to be fair. I was at where was I, FESPA this year, and I watched 2 guys introduce themselves to each other for the first time, and it was like, how much do you guys turn over? How much? What's your revenue? It was like a contest to see who had the most staff, and it's that. But this is the problem: we don't speak enough about like the gross margins. So like that's definitely one of the figures. Yes, we have to track the revenue, but managing and monitoring the gross margins, obviously cash flow, average order values. It amazes me. Again, I could go into a room tomorrow full of print business owners, and 9 out of 10 of them probably wouldn't know what their average order value is, or the cadence of how frequent those customers typically order throughout the year, and conversion rates. Kind of what's the quote conversion rate? Again, it's everyone always tells me that we convert 80% of our quotes, and then you look into the MIS system and it's more like 40 or 50. And like the leads coming into the business, kind of how many of those leads are converting into customers? Where are those leads coming from? They're typically the kind of main places where I tend to start. And as I said, it kind of really terrifies me that not a lot of people do that. And to be fair, I didn't do it. No one showed me this stuff. No one told me how to run a business. I learned the hard way. But that's why we do what we do, to hopefully help instill that 100%. Confidence.
Those are perfect, Colin. I mean, like exactly what I'm thinking too. Can we talk real quick about average order value? Because that's an interesting one, right? Because the pushback I get, and I don't know if this is the same pushback you get, is, well, it just varies. That's why I don't know, right? That's the justification for not knowing. Like, how do you deal with? I don't know if you get that pushback, or how would you deal with that pushback?
Yeah, I do get that pushback, and also kind of usually get the excuse that it's skewed by that one big order that comes in regularly and things as well. But so typically I sit down. I've got a few kind of different working examples where I sit down and I'll go through these particular. So I'll go through those particular KPIs we mentioned, and I'll show them an example based on. I'll kind of use a company similar size to them, and we'll go through and I'll assign a particular figure or whatever to each one, and then I'll say, okay, right, so let's say you are looking to grow your profits or your revenue by X amount. If we can increase that average order value by even 2.5% or 5%, what impact does it have? And I'll do the same for the quote conversion rates and things, and I'll show them a few different working examples, and all of a sudden they start to see the picture take shape, where kind of they go from, let's say, for these, let's just say they're a million turnover revenue business. the impact that can make, all of a sudden 2.5% increase there, or a 5% increase there, and all of a sudden that takes them up to like 1.2, 1.3 million. And the penny drops, and then they start to understand the importance of why it is that we track things like average order value, and they start to then say, okay, how do we do this? Well, then you start looking at cross-selling, upselling, in some cases downselling as well, to drive that conversion rate up. So yeah, it definitely, that seems to open their minds. That's something I use most of the time, and it tends to help.
Yeah, so good, so good. I love that, and I will just confirm. Yes, and Gary feels the same way. We hear it all the time. People just don't even know how much it costs them to open their doors every day.
Yeah,
and like you said, that's a scary place to be. People survive, and we can get through it. But boy, that would be the first thing that.
Well, I think especially in the garment end of this industry, most people got in from the creative side, and so the business side suffers from that.
Yeah. Just a low barrier of entry to get in, right? Cost wise. So I think that's a driving factor. So, all right, Terry, what's next on your list there?
Well, Colin, it's a whole new world again.
Every day.
So, what are some of the outdated sales or marketing habits that tend to hold people back and hold their businesses back today?
Okay. I think we can get quite lazy, if I'm honest with you. Lazy waiting for the phone to ring, expecting customers will just naturally come back to you, thinking that you've got a nice shiny website and it's going to do the job for you, or posting pictures of your presses, which, let's be honest, your customers are not interested in. That's a big one. Or discounting. I spoke about this actually at D-Scoop in Slovenia recently. I've got a seminar around discounting, and obviously how to avoid doing that. I think discounting has its place at certain parts of the customer journey, but I'm a huge advocate of not discounting. And again, that could be a whole episode itself. But
Yeah.
I talk a lot about. I kind of practice an 8-stage kind of customer journey, which I really wish someone had shown me and taught me when I had my print business. But it's about understanding your customers' needs, and they're not interested in what bits of kit. They're interested in you solving their problems. It's about becoming a trusted advisor to that particular customer, and knowing your sector and knowing their pain points and what makes them want to buy, and kind of how you can make their life easier. And I'll tell you, I think the biggest thing we've all got a bit lazy in is just lifting the phone to our customers. So many people I work with seem terrified to lift the phone. And I don't know about you guys. I've always very much worked on the basis that every single customer who's ever ordered from me should receive a call at least every 3 months. At least every 3 months. Now, there'll be some companies who you will speak to more frequently than that, of course. But even the people that don't order that regularly, they should still be hearing from you every 3 months. And it might sound a lot, but when you break it down into, in most cases, it usually turns out to be like maybe 5 to 10 calls a day. It's never usually much more than that, unless you're obviously a super big company. But if in that case, you'll have multiple people to do that. But it's never as big a task as what it initially seems. But just opening up that conversation, opening up the dialogue, kind of seeing what they've got going on. But yeah, we're really bad at that, and I think we could all get a lot better at it as well.
I love the posting pictures of your presses. It seems like a conversation we have fairly regularly, because it's like, I know you're proud of it. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
We care what comes out the other end.
Yeah. Just one of our regulators here, David Haynes, says, yes, we can get quite lazy. People rarely stumble across a website or social media page. It takes work to get it out there. So, yeah, love that. And guys, we've got Colin here, so let's take advantage of it. If you've got questions for Colin, please pop them in the chat there. We'll get them in front of him. But all right,
Just to jump in on that quickly as well,
Yeah.
if that's okay. But
please.
we're really lucky to live in the time we're living in just now. Like when I started in sales, like we didn't have access to the tools that we've got just now. It's so much easier. Like if you want to reach out to the president of a specific company, you can jump on LinkedIn and drop them a DM. Like back in the old days, like I was handed a yellow pages and told to get on with it. Like it's so much easier now than it ever was before. So there really is no excuse.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
for some of our younger listeners, the Yellow Pages was this book that we had. I'm just kidding. But it's interesting that you say that, though, talking about, picking up the phone. I appreciate you sharing that. Terry, I don't know if you remember this, but this was an early, what was the Threads? The Printing United had that program for a couple of years that we went to.
Oh,
Anyway,
ThreadX.
ThreadX, thank you, because brain is not functioning fully yet. But Jay Baer, do you remember him, Terry?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jay, we got to talk to him for a little bit, and one of the things he pointed out in one of his seminars is that millennials have to work up the courage to make a phone call. Like he had some statistic that went along with that. I was
Statistic, yes.
blown away by that, and so like you want to stand out, pick up the phone. Like there's an easy way to stand out right there. Answer the phone, pick up the phone. So, all right, Colin, this has been awesome so far. We've got plenty more questions for you here. So, okay, a lot of small business owners, right? We know what we should do. I think I've always said that every business owner I've worked with, they have everything they need inside of them already. They just don't trust themselves, or they struggle to follow through. So I know you've built a mastermind program. I'm a huge proponent of masterminds as well. How important are accountability, that peer support, that mastermind style conversation in taking our businesses and moving them forward, turning good ideas into action?
Huge, absolutely huge. It's funny. I first came across the whole concept of masterminds. It would have been back in 2008, I think it was 2009. So it was just when I was kind of getting started again after the recession, and it wasn't an industry specific one. So I was sitting there with I know you call them something different, but like an accountant, solicitor, lawyer,
Yeah.
all these kind of high profile corporates around the table, and then there was me, and I felt really out my depth, really uncomfortable, and it was kind of day one. We all had to kind of put our kind of business plans on the table, and then get constructive feedback, and my business plan got ripped to shreds. It was devastating. And I went home and my wife was like, "What's wrong?" And I said, They don't understand my business model. They've ripped it to shreds. I was really upset. And she said, "Well, they can't all be wrong, can they?" And I was like, "Fair enough. I'll go back and see what they've got to say." And it was one of the best experiences ever. Kind of without that particular mastermind group, I wouldn't have been able to so we ended up getting finance. We brought in some investors. We brought production in-house. We built up the franchise team. I couldn't have done any of that had it not been for that mastermind group. And I guess it was probably that scenario that kind of brought me to what I'm doing today with Print Mastermind. But it's you need. I think you'll know from the coaching as well. Like there's two sides to our kind of roles. There's the coaching and there's the mentoring side, and the way I kind of describe it to people is when you're coaching someone, they already know what they're doing. They just need that accountability to make it happen. They need someone to challenge them. They need that sounding board to kind of bounce ideas off. Whereas the mentoring side is when they absolutely have no idea where to go. They're a bit stuck, and that's where you can bring your experience to the table as well. So I think whether it be through a coach or whether it be through a mastermind group, I think having that peer support is massively important. And it's been quite a challenge. Like, we've created this mastermind group with essentially competitors. You've got other print business owners, garment decorators, signage companies, people in the promo space, all competing with each other. And somehow we've managed to get them in a community where they come on and they share ideas, they keep each other accountable. And the transformations that we're seeing in there, and they're collaborating in some instances as well. But whatever you feel you're going through at any given time, there's a good chance that someone else in that room has been through or going through the same. You're not alone, and I think that's the big thing when you realise that other people are going through the same thing. It just gives you a bit more comfort and confidence that you're going to get through the other side as well. But it's a great place to share ideas with people who get it, because I remember I used to come home from work at night. My wife she's from a veterinary background, so she's got no career in print at all. And she would always say the complete opposite from what I wanted her to say. And that wasn't her fault. That was just she didn't live and breathe the same world that I did as well. So when you give yourself a space where you can network with people who have walked in the same path as you, in the same shoes, it gets easier.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, Colin, when I do my screen printing classes, on the first day, I always say, show of hands, who has employees? And the people that raise their hands, I always say, and your life changed forever that day, didn't it? So let's talk about hiring your first employees or expanding your team. What mistakes do owners make when they first start hiring employees?
First of all, I want to acknowledge having employees is one of the hardest things about running a business. It's probably been the biggest revelation from me since I started coaching. I didn't expect so much of my time to be spent talking about employee issues. So yeah, I think the biggest mistake is that we tend to, kind of referring back to that conversation I had earlier with the company that was going to bring someone in, purely because they felt a little bit overwhelmed with the workload that they had on. It wasn't because they were ready. So I think before you hire anyone, you should really ask yourself a few questions like, have you actually? Because again, you see job adverts going up, and it's just a list of tasks that maybe the boss has decided, right, these are all the things I want to get rid of. Get them off my desk. I'll bring someone else in to do that. But really, you want to create a job description that's more outcome kind of based as well, so that person understands what the outcome is, what the goals are that they're responsible for. And then I think, secondly, you've got to ask yourself, have you built a system here that this person can follow? We've mentioned SOPs already in the conversation, but again, so many. I've actually developed a library of SOPs that I think there's about 150 SOPs in this library, just to get people started, because nobody's got any. Or I don't mean nobody, but there's a high proportion of businesses that don't have SOPs in place across the business. So I wanted to make it easy, so even if it gets 80% of the job done, they can go in and finish it, because again, a lot of the time they just don't know where to start with it as well. So if we can make that a little bit easier for them. So again, have you built a system that's easy for someone to follow? And I guess the third thing is, can you genuinely afford it? And the crazy thing is, in that situation I mentioned, yes, the business could afford it, but I reckon within about 3 months they probably wouldn't have needed that person anymore. So, so again, you've got to kind of build that justification, I think, before you consider bringing in extra members into the team. Make sure that everything else is watertight before you do that, rather than just being reactive.
Love it. Wow. Such good information. All right. David Haynes here has a question for you. I think this is a good one. I'd love to hear your take on this, Colin. He says, for newbies, how do you deal with quote unquote rejection or an initial no when you're reaching out to prospects?
It happens. It's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. I had a conversation. So one of my other clients was a husband and wife team, small business, and she was really uncomfortable, kind of getting on the phones. So much so she wouldn't make any calls in front of her husband. So she would go home a couple of afternoons a week to make those calls when he wasn't there. But she was really nervous about it, and you've got to get to the point, like you will get to a point where you might make 10 phone calls and 4 of them maybe turn into quotes, and maybe out of those 4 quotes you'll maybe get 2 orders out of that. Then it's just a numbers game. You say, well, I need to get 10 orders, so I'm just going to 4x or 5x that to get to the target I need every day. But you have to get used to rejection, unfortunately. I typically, if you've got, I think, Aaron, you would have seen my LinkedIn post recently about eating that frog.
Yep.
And if you've got difficult calls in that list, start off with them early in the morning. Don't save them till later in the day. It's only going to get easier then. But yeah, for me, like when I get a rejection, and listen, I've had telephones slammed down on me, people telling me to F off and various things. Go for a walk outside, get some fresh air, go grab a coffee, come back, sit down, and you go again. It's sales. It's a roller coaster, and you get used to it, and the highs outweigh the lows, and you've just got to suck it up, unfortunately.
There you go. Love it. Great answer, Colin. Thank you for that.
Well, we have to have you back, Colin, because I have lots more questions there, and I know you do too.
Yeah. We just scratched the surface, so for sure.
We're coming down to the end. So where can people reach out to you, learn more about what you do, and where should people reach out about Printing United as well?
Sure. So if you want to find out more about me, you can visit my website, theonlineprintcoach.com. On there, you'll get a link through to the mastermind I was talking about as well. And I've also got a podcast called The Printer Views, which I need to get you guys on next. So yeah, feel free to check it out. And yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. If you just search for The Online Print Coach, you'll find me quite easily on there. And please feel free to reach out and let's have a chat.
Yeah, definitely reach out to Colin. Colin, tell us a little bit about the All-Stars. I know you're a very humble guy, but you're a captain, dude. So lots of cool stuff happening. As we were kind of talking about early after Cassie shared the news, there's so much stuff. Sometimes it's hard to get our heads around it. So what should people be looking for when it comes to Printing United, this All-Star program?
Do you know what? There's so much lined up this year. I think first of all, I'm just so excited to catch up with all you guys in person again. I know when we all got round the table for the first time last year, it just clicked, and there's six new additions this year as well. We've also got our own area this year within the revamped Spill the Ink area as well. So there's going to be some real cool stuff. So anyone listening in. Obviously Aaron and I are on that expo team. There's a whole load of other great people that you should come along and chat to. There's going to be stuff happening in that area throughout the whole show. There's some great paid education seminars lined up this year as well. Do you know, there's just so much you can't even some of the after dark stuff that's going on. There's no time to sleep in Vegas. So come embrace it all. Come and meet us. I'm certainly going to be tied to that one area for pretty much the whole show. I'll be giving a few seminars and stuff as well, but yeah, just come along, embrace everything, plan ahead. There's too much to do. You don't want to miss anything, so get on the website, check out what's going on, and most importantly, come and say hello to us.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. And I hear this is your first time to Vegas, so
yes, it's. I'm not sure what to expect. What advice can you guys give me?
Terry, what good advice?
Oh gosh, good question. Don't hang out with Aaron and I.
uh,
I'm
back in the
looking
day, that would have been true, Terry. I think.
That's true.
Um, yeah, don't ask us about time travel. That's probably the most important thing.
It's science.
It is science, but no, Colin, we're looking forward to it, and yeah, I think Vegas this time of year when we're going to be there, it should be a little cooler, but it is still a desert, so lots of water, and you're going to be doing lots of walking, as you know from previous Printing United. So,
Can I just say though, the one thing that this podcast is missing that no one else can see Eric's reactions to you guys. Like you need to sort this out. It's comical. It's comical.
I am going to 100% figure out. I know we can do it. We'll have a little screen in the corner, Eric. I think that's a must. Colin, so true. All right, sir. Well, again, as Terry said, we got to get you back on, so we'll be in conversation about that. Maybe we can do a little sit down in Printing United too. But yeah, like I said, we're gonna have lots of great conversations here, and I can't wait to continue seeing what you're doing in the print space, and looking forward to seeing you in September.
Thank you so much, guys. Look forward to seeing you there. Thanks for having me.
All right.
Terry, what a great conversation, man.
I know, but there's so much more that we needed to talk about.
I know. We just, I sent a little side message to you as we were talking there, going, Terry, I may have overdone it. I think I was so excited to talk to him. I maybe had a few too many questions, but that means we can have part 2, part 3, whatever. And and then Colin, before you, our friend Doug Quinn says the Fremont Street experience, getting
yeah,
done. Yeah, it's always a good time.
And the Sphere. Oh my gosh, that's fabulous.
Yeah, the Sphere, definitely worth checking out there in Vegas. All right, Terry. Well, we are getting close to the end of the show, but we've got a great secret sauce coming up for you here. But before we do that, would you go ahead and share what you've got coming up here on your calendar? Where's Terry going to be?
All right. My complete screen printing business course at Atlas Screen Supply in Chicago, August 22nd, 23rd. So it's right around the corner. And I'll be back there again November 7th and 8th. As you mentioned, Aaron, I'm going to be, we're both going to be at the DAX Twin Cities, August 7th and 8th. I will be in the DTF Superstore booth. And I will be in the apparel zone at Printing United in Vegas, September 23rd through 25th. I will be also again in the DTS Superstore area. And reminder again, the apparel zone is all about education, not selling. So it's a safe space. And beyond that, watch for all my upcoming events at terrycombs.com. How about you, Aaron?
Yeah, lots of great stuff happening. As you mentioned, we're heading to DAX. But before I talk about DAX, I do want to, we're starting to get people signed up for this already. So I don't want you to miss an opportunity. This is a room that you want to be in here in the St. Charles, Missouri area. It's called Purpose Plus Profit, and it's happening October 30th and 31st. And it is a space where small business owners will step away from the noise, reconnect with their purpose, get practical strategies for strong profits, and build real community with people who understand the journey. So if this sounds like a room that you need to be in, please reach out to me. You can also go to, and I haven't even given this to Eric yet, but a brand new link here, osg.link/retreat will take you to where you can find more details. But let's have a conversation. We've had a couple conversations this week with folks and like, we're not sure. And then we talked to them and shared kind of what we were thinking with this whole thing. And they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I thought about not coming to this. So this is going to be an awesome event that you want to be at, osg.link/retreat. Thank you, Eric, for that last minute thing there. As far as DAX that you mentioned, Terry, I will be there. I've got 3 classes that I'm teaching. 2 that I'm teaching, 1 that I'm facilitating, and always great information there. Great classes, great companies there exhibiting. Our friend David Haynes from Curl Trainer will be there. So if you are anywhere close to Minneapolis area this next week, it is happening August 7th and 8th. Use the code SUPERROB, SUPERROB 2026. And that'll get you a $30 education credit and also free show floor entry. So I've shared what my classes are already, so I'll skip that for now. And then After we come back from that show, I will also then share all the classes I get to teach at Printing United. It's going to be busy, busy. So good stuff happening there. So that's me. And then Eric, Mr. Eric Campbell has got the take up today. It is episode 261, Drawing Tools and Design Workflow Revisited. In the episode, Eric's going to review tools digitizers use and methods they employ, from how to draw shapes to when and where to use design software, and how the process has changed and hasn't changed in his years of design creation. If you'll head over to ericcampbell.com and click the Take Up tab at the top, you can access the link to this episode plus all of his past episodes. So make sure that you've got ericcampbell.com bookmarked for any embroidery and just amazing apparel decorating information for sure, Terry. So, all right, good stuff happening. Are you ready to deliver some secret sauce, sir?
I am. I'm have it all stirred up. I'm Terry Combs, and my secret sauce today is: can your business run without you? Let me ask you a simple question. If you disappeared for 2 weeks, would your business continue to run, or would it come to a screeching halt? Life can throw us curveballs. For many business owners, that's an uncomfortable question. We tell ourselves, nobody can do it as well as I can, and sometimes that's true. But often it's true because we've made it that way. The real issue isn't whether your employees are capable. The question is whether you've given them the trust, authority, confidence to make decisions. Think about your own management style. Do you have to approve every little decision? Do employees come to you with every question because they're afraid to make a mistake? Do you find yourself redoing work because it wasn't done exactly the way you would have done it? If that's happening, you may not be leading a team, you may be creating a bottleneck. Micromanagement, something we talk about a lot. Micromanagement usually comes from good intentions. We care about quality. We want customers to have a great experience. We want to protect the business we worked so hard to build, but micromanagement has consequences. Employees stop thinking for themselves. They wait for permission instead of solving problems. They become hesitant and eventually they disengage. Then the owner looks around and says, "See, I have to do everything myself." It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Great leaders do something different. They create clear expectations. They provide training. They establish boundaries for decision making. And then they take a step back. That doesn't mean abandoning your team. It means trusting them enough to use their judgment that you've helped them develop. One of the best questions you can ask yourself is, if one of my employees made this decision without me, would the outcome be good enough? Notice I didn't say would the outcome be perfect. If the answer is yes, let them decide. Every time an employee successfully solves a problem, they gain confidence. Every time you trust them, they become more valuable to your organization. Over time, something remarkable happens. Your business becomes less dependent on you. That's not a sign you're becoming less important. It's proof you're becoming a better leader. The goal of every business owner shouldn't be to become indispensable. It should be to build a business that's resilient, adaptable, capable of succeeding even when you're not in the building. Here's something I've done on every production floor I've ever run. When an employee comes to me with a routine question, I ask, "What do you think we should do?" You might be surprised by the quality of their answer, and before long, those questions just disappear. Try it in your own business, and you'll begin building a culture where people don't just follow instructions, they take ownership. Because the strongest businesses are not built around one person. They're built on a team that has been trusted, empowered, and prepared to lead. That's my secret sauce for today.
Awesome. Terry, great secret sauce, sir. Thank you for sharing that.
Really tied in with today's show, I think.
It did. It's like you knew what we were going to talk about today, huh? But I love the idea about, asking, doesn't have to be perfect. I think that was the part that stood out to me. All of it was great, but that really stood out to me, that sometimes we go, oh, well, I wouldn't have done it that way. Okay. But is the result still going to be, acceptable for your business?
Right.
And that's going to free you up so much. I love that. All right. Terry, great show today. Real quick, just need to put something out there. Just a quick memorial thought for our friends over at Midwest Embroideries, ZSK. We lost a wonderful person in the embroidery space, in the apparel space. Bob Mattina passed away. And we just want to give our thoughts and prayers and love and light to Andrea, Nick, and the rest of the Mattina family over there. Was heartbreaking to see, and haven't had a chance to connect with Andrea yet, but we just want to send them lots of love and light. So if you happen across Andrea and Nick or any of the Mattinas, please give them a hug and lots of love and prayers as they cope with the loss of the patriarch there. Bob was an amazing guy, Terry. So I know
Bob was a wonderful man and always had a smile on his face every time I ever saw him.
Absolutely, one of the most positive, uplifting guys I've met. So I'm gonna miss him. All right, Terry. Well, with that being said, we do want to just give a huge shout out to Colin and appreciate him being here with us. Make sure you go over to theonlineprintcoach.com or connect with him on LinkedIn, and then make sure you stop by and say hello to him, and you obviously can sit down and have a great chat with him. And not only does he have great information, but he's just a fun guy to talk to. For especially for us Americans with that really cool accent. So
I'm looking forward to chatting with him here in less than 2 months. So
yeah.
We also want to thank our show producer, Eric Campbell, for all he does, keeping us on the air, pushing those buttons, turning those wheels.
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned at the top, next week, Terry and I are going to both be gone. So Eric is going to be taking on the host role, and he's going to have an awesome co-host in Cassie Green for the Apparelist. But they are going to be talking to Shelby, and I did not get her last name correctly, so I'm going to butcher it, I'm sure. But I'm not even going to get it, Terry. I'm not even getting close. We all know that names are not my thing. But Shelby, who is also an all-star, and so I should get her last name correctly here. But she's going to be talking about color management, and she's got lots of great information there. They do a podcast, but also what's going on with color in the world of Printing United as well. So another great conversation you want to be tuned into next week, Terry.
Exactly. Maybe her name will be phonetic on her badge. So
maybe, and then I'll still screw it up, but at least I'll have a better shot at it. So,
all right. Till then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery,
and that was the Two Regular Guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Two Regular Guys. We're here because of listeners like you, and we're so grateful to have you on this journey with us. For more valuable insight, be sure to visit our website, 2regularguys.com, and join the conversation on our Facebook page. And hey, if you or someone you know has expertise, a unique perspective, or a story worth sharing, we'd love to have them as a guest on the show. Just reach out. Remember, success in this industry isn't just about the equipment you own or the techniques you've mastered. It's about the mindset you bring and the connections you build. Keep learning, stay curious, and don't be afraid to think differently. Keep pressing on, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Two Regular Guys.